if you really want to step up your game as a bass fisherman, one technique you have to be proficient at is skipping baits with a Baitcaster. So you can get away with a spinning rod and lighter line and braided line, especially in skipping soft plastics and things around boat docks. But to be really, really efficient, you've got to be able to have a jig or a frog or some of these other baits and be able to put them back there with a Baitcaster to have the power and the leverage to get a big fish out. So that technique is something that I've been doing for a lot of years, and I thought I was pretty good at. But when we went to the engineers at Lew's and said, hey, we really want to develop a skipping system, a Baitcaster designed for it, and have the right rod, have the right setup to be able to do it, we came out with the Lew's Pro SP bait casting reel. And this reel right here is an absolute game changer. So I was pretty good before. With this setup right here, it makes me a magician, man. It's designed just for skipping and fishing, target fishing. It only holds about 40 yards of line. It's got a special designed spool with a knot slot in it, so you don't feel that knot or anything as the line starts to go out. It's got a special braking system. It's super high speed. So often when you're skipping and pitching, you're fishing one little target and then you're burning that bait in to get it to another one. So it's very efficient time-wise with that. It's got a power handle to it, and I've got it matched up on what I designed as the perfect rod for this technique. So this is a KVD GC5. It's a 7.2 medium heavy action. It's got a real fast tip to it with a lot of backbone, and it's got a little bit shorter handle. When you put this Lew's Pro SP on there and spool it with either, you can put 20-pound fluorocarbon or you can match it up with braid, you really can't hardly mess up with it. So if I want to fire it into a willow tree and just blast a frog through it, even if it stops, I don't get a big backlash. You can set that braking system into that higher level, into that skipping zone, we call it, and it just almost is impossible to backlash. I really don't even need to thumb the spool on this setup. And what I do is I have them rigged for the different baits that really excel for this technique. One for sure is the KVD Sexy Frog. I'm going to have this set up with 50 or 65-pound braid. The bigger the diameter line you use, the smoother it is, and the less chances of you having any problems at all with any overrun or backlash on it. So again, 50 or 65-pound braid on that frog. I can just do that sidearm cast and just roll that bait right into that thick cover, through the bushes, underneath a willow tree, underneath a gap underneath a dock like this. It just really makes it very easy to get this technique down. This reel is a total game changer. The other bait that I throw a lot is a jig. The Andy Montgomery skipping jig, he's one of the guys that's really known for skipping baits around docks and things like that. Him and I are the ones that worked with the engineers to develop this reel for Lew's. So that jig matched with to me, a rage bug is one of the best skipping baits added on it. It's got a screw lock keeper on it, so it really makes that trailer stay on there. It's not gonna slide down or anything like that. I've got it rigged with 20-pound fluorocarbon. If I'm fishing around clear water targets and things like that, fluorocarbon's the way to go. If it's real dirty water, really, really thick cover, man, I can go to braid with this as well. But same rod, that GC5, just fantastic for being able to skip a jig, and this jig skips like a dream. Another bait that we just came out with that is just something that most people would never think of is skipping a buzzbait. So this is a brand new buzzbait that Andy developed as well. And you can see it's got a toad on there. It's got a keeper system to keep that toad from sliding down. And then it's got a little wire. So one of the problems with skipping a buzzbait is that arm will flex and not allow that bait to skip it. It opens up and catches water. It'll, skip up off the water and hit the dock. So if you want to get it into a real tight area, you got to keep this compact. And having that little design right there absolutely does that. So you can skip just about any bait that you want if you have to, but these are three baits that I fish all the time when I'm in these target areas, again, with overhanging bushes, boat docks, willow trees, things like that, that you can actually get into these bass, into these shallow areas, and it's a presentation they just haven't seen. So if you have the right setup, it makes it easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of work or effort, a little bit of practice, and anyone can learn to skip a Baitcaster. This just makes it very easy and efficient. Just like that.